knowledge. You hear that, good sister?
I'm supposed to
Breaking
follow
it
that.
down.
Come on, now. Come on.
That's tough, man. That's tough.
Work with me, Lord. Okay, work with me, Lord. Because you understand.
That's tough, man. That's tough, boy. That's tough. I ain't gonna lie. She had to drink some water on that one. That's tough.
Yeah,
That's
I
tough.
was thirsty. You said I was
Yeah,
parched. I had
yeah,
to, I had to, I had to
yeah.
sippers. You understand what I'm saying? I had
You
to
go ahead.
sippers.
Get
Queen
me
Mother, right
my
before I
nectar.
came
Cause
on,
that was something nice right there. That was something nice.
right before I came on, you said if you pour libation, expect an answer, right?
Mm.
And if you leave an offering, expect a response. And I sat with it. I sat with it. And from the radio modality, I wanted to bring to the forefront the people who were behind the scenes. Initially, Do Now's Radio was the voice of the voiceless. Now, it is the voice of the voiceful.
Mm.
After the 10-year cycle, reforming it, the voiceless, we bring them voices forward. So now they have a voice. Now they have a mission. Now they have a cause. People are aware of who they are and what they do and how they do what they do. So now they're full, right? Their voice is full. So the voice of the voice full, not the voiceless. You see what I'm saying? So from struggle to victorious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So bringing those spaces back into material use. So when I started the platform, it was a moniker that was a mission in honor to my mother and father. As I said plenty of times here, brother said, you understand what I'm saying? So being here in this divine time with the mothership, you understand what I'm saying? Like God don't make no mistakes, like they said in that movie, right? God don't make no mistakes. So at this appointed time right here, in honor of my mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, great grandmother, great grandfather, and all that honor defined that I descend from and descend back to. That's in my genetic coding, whether that's physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. And that's the walk. And that's the standard that I'm held accountable to and for. So from the radio perspective was giving that voice. From the writing perspective was to give hope to a little black boy about 8 years old who came to the world clairvoyant, who claimed clairaudient, clarisentient. He has all of these powers, right? Like the X-Men that you was talking about, like Storm,
Mm.
right? Having those powers, right? And he has the power to tell people their future.
Mm.
He has the power to tell people their future. But every time he speaks, because he's 8 years old, they look at him like he's 8 years old. The things, their deepest desires in their mind's eye that they could no longer see, they put them to the backbone and he pulls them to the forefront and says to them, this is what you're destined to do. So this child is giving them this uh, reminder. And they're reminding him that's not how these things work because they're bogged down in their circumstances. They're living in a pain body. They're in that space of victimization, so they can't even see it anymore.
Mm.
So even him reminding them becomes something that's hurtful and harmful to them. But it's the hurt and harm in that space to get them out of the pain body circumstance that they find their mind's eye in to be able to move forward out of the muck of the mire to be able to stand up. So after so many interactions, he asked the question that we all ask. Well, what am I doing here? What am I here for? And if he continues to fall into that space of dissatisfaction, he will not continue on his mission and do what he needs to do, regardless of the circumstances of the landscape that he sees with the people that he interacts with. He doesn't allow that to be the litmus test of the people because for every uh, 10 no's, there's a yes. So he
Yes.
has to be able to be sustained in the space to be able to sustain himself to get to that yes for somebody to see. So he knows he's not here and that his living is not in vain.
There we go.
So when I write, I fill him up. He goes from the voiceless to the voice full. I fill him up and her up. I fill up those light workers, as you described, brother said, and give them a reason to continue. Because right over that tumultuous trek or track of mountainous sorrows is joy, right? So joy cometh in the morning, right? So if you don't write to it, they can't see it no more. They might think that all it is this depths of despair because this is all they're coming in contact with. But joy cometh in the morning. So we're writing for. I write for that. I write for that, and I seek out those people who are that light, who are in that space and shadow, to give them back credence, and their story inspired me to continue to write my story and to garner these people in this way from this radio perspective, to be able to share those stories that the world needs people authentically, not performative. Because anybody could put on a little song and dance for you, but authentically connecting with people and making those spaces, whether they famous folks, quote unquote, or the average regular black folk. You see what I'm saying? They both get the same credence and light in our discourse or in our diatribe. And that's motivation enough for me in a reciprocal fashion to continue. But as our Queen Mothership has said, if it's in you, it's in you. You ain't gonna get no rest. You could try to tap out and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go lay down," and then you think you about to get some rest, man. No, that's not about to happen. You're gonna be hopping up like Whoopi said in Ghost, right? She's like, all right, I'm going over there. So she went to go do her duties. Damn, you understand what I'm saying? So she had a mission. And from that mission, the whole world, a whole nother world was opened up to her that was unbeknownst to us beyond the veil. So, yeah.
Thank you, brother. It really is an honor to be able to hear someone break it down so clearly and so clairvoyantly. You had me thinking about things I hadn't really even processed, you know what I'm saying? And about understanding, when you were talking about your grandfather's grandfather, in the lineage and how those elders once, we were able to hear were sharing information that maybe had been passed down generation to generation to generation to generation. And those generations still live because of the information that they're able to give to us and how that insight helps us and grows us, and the music was a pivotal portal to that. You know what I'm saying? That was, man, I'm gonna share something that I was thinking about recently. That was a way in which we could beat the jaws of death because it's been many times I done played Marvin Gaye and he felt like pause, he was in the room. I felt like he was in the room, you know what I'm saying? Like he was talking directly to me. And he's been dead, you know what I'm saying, uh longer, you know what I'm saying, than I can remember. I was a young pup when he got out. So it was like for music to be able to create situations in which, even if it's just my imagination, as the Temptations would say, it's a beautiful thing because it brings so much light and so much information, so much wisdom, so much funny and realistic realism that gets me out of my hubris and hyperbole thinking I'm something that I ain't, because my shit stank too. You know what I'm saying? But just like the song say, every nigga is a star. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's so many different methods and methodologies that we can tap into or not tap into. And that's just the beauty of what both of you do, because you bring that to our awareness. And Brother Knowledge has been so profound because he's incorporated and included, just as you, sister, speeches, poems, poets, theorists, you know what I'm saying? Those who are political, those who are apolitical, those who are geometric, those who are symmetric, those who are geographical, those who are autobiographical, and whatever the dynamic may be, it's an authenticity to the reality that the melanated people that they associate, connect with, validate, resonate with, and are real too. it hits you with a feeling that you can't describe. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because it supersedes place, space, and time. And I just wanted to make sure that I give both of you acknowledgement of that and let you both know how captivating it is as a listener. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I listen to both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just be tapping in and it's like, wow, they really understand what time it is. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. So I want people to not only realize that they're not taking time to listen to y'all. No, they're adding time and value to
Yeah.
not only their mind. That's what we be like, we wasting time or we, I gotta manage this time. No, we gotta add more time to the situation that we in. I'm talking about being real, being alive. You know what I'm saying? Because they're doing all kind of stuff to send us to, what I'm saying, the afterlife, you know, into the next transition. I mean, just look at what they're putting in the food. Look at what they're doing for the food for thought. And then not allowing brothers and sisters like yourselves who give us food for thought that not only helps us think, but moves us forward in a way in which we can be better at everything. And I think those are the things that need to be highlighted. And I ain't a hater. We need the underground. We need the dirt. We need, you know what I'm saying, the drill and the trill and all of that. But at the same time, we can't have a steady diet on it. That needs to be the dessert. If you so choose wanna, or the emergency case glass joint. That shouldn't be the default. That shouldn't be what youngsters know verbatim. That shouldn't be what we hear constantly on our top 40. You know what I mean? We should be hearing things that add value. At least back in the days when all of us were coming up, you had some semblance of balance. We wasn't going for all of that because that wasn't all we are and all we were and all we was and all we will be. That ain't real. And we're gonna be a G about it. We're gonna be honest about it. We're gonna keep it real and say, okay, yeah, we got the intellectualism, but we also can get ignorant with you if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because we real. And that I think that that's important to say because many times young folk especially are not realizing the standard. So they losing the integrity and it's losing fidelity. And then it's no longer tapped into the necessity of the reality. Because music's gotta be functional too. It just can't just be for entertainment. Even
Yeah.
though we know what entering and how it entertains us, but we also want to say that entertainment should be elevating and enlightening, even if it is in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? Because it's got to give us something that adds value to our experience because we're giving up time listening to this. And
Mm-hmm.
we listen to it constantly and consistently because they make sure we hear it over and over and over and over again. So if we're going to tap into that, we got to make sure that it is as productive, constructive as it needs to be to help us move forward with the time that we're giving and then how we're also adding time to our existence. Because we have so much more we need to accomplish and achieve. And if it's not helping us do those things, if it's not aiding and abetting in that process, then we need to reevaluate. You know what I'm saying? And then we also need to reach out and say, hey, these constructs need to be redefined. We don't want to hear all this on the public square. And we definitely don't want this to be front and center because that's not authentic and real to our existence. That's
Mm-hmm.
not going to help our existence. So, what I'm saying to folk is you all are giving us information in whatever medium and mechanism to make sure that we are continuing, advancing, evolving, developing, and not accepting BS as the litmus test. Nah, we're going above and beyond. And I really want y'all to etch that into the minds of those that are tapping in because that's where we win. We don't win by getting a whip or a chain. Nah, that's a tool sometimes used as slavery,
Oh yeah.
as servitude. You know what I'm saying? No, we want to create a whole new paradigm so that we can elevate our game and that we could take this thing to whole higher heights and then also respecting and recognizing the sacrifices made by our ancestors, our elders, and those who may not ever get their name known. They may never get a walk of fame, but they didn't do that because they wanted to help us so that we could win a little bit more in this game. You know what I'm
Ashe.
saying? And you all understand that, and you're aware of the importance of that because that's our responsibility. It's weird to me when I hear, we may have less money than our generation prior, or we may not live as long as the generation prior. No, that's a letdown not only in ourselves, but those who sacrifice themselves for us.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of Black history. Black history is not just learning about George Washington Carver, even though if we learn about him, we learn about ourselves, we learn about our families, we learn about the dynamics and the constructs that existed during that time, and then how we responded, be it good, be it bad, be it whatever, but we'd be more connected to what came and manifested after that, which then manifested us and those us's of us that are to come. So we better understand the realities of that so that we can better process what's going on right now. But it also would be beautiful because the story is mad real. Like we don't even, man, we haven't even redefined this in our mind. I just want to say this and I want to give y'all space. We don't even understand how powerful that is. A slave becoming free. Even if because I know we got brothers my people was never slave, but your people was there. You know what I'm saying? That's for sure. So they have an experience that needs to be understood, and that experience needs to be recognized on more than just a topical level of they was Native American or they had businesses, but it also needs to be fully understood what they had to accomplish and achieve in spite of the difficulties that may have existed. You know what I'm saying? And what helped them get them through. And I guarantee it has something to do with a rhythm or a beat. You know what I'm saying? We've been a people that have always used music. You know what I'm saying? And I've always listened to the measure, to the notes. As Stevie Wonder said, songs in the key of life, and
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's so profound because there's a rhythm. And I really believe our people understand, you know what I'm saying, the DNA of that, and then also how to execute and do that. And we have to uphold that responsibility and that standard for generations to come. And you all have been part and parcel of that. So I know the ancestors are telling me to close my mouth so we can hear the wisdom of both of you. But I just wanted to preface that to say thank you for what you do. And then also, how are you going to continue to carry that on in that torch so that it burns and shines, blazes brighter for the next generation?
Knowledge, would you like to go first?
Ma'am, I am yielding. Okay, I'm here to get fed, and I want to be reciprocal.
Yeah. I wanted to see how both y'all was gonna respond. So yeah, definitely the
Right.
muse. Let her do what she do.
Yes, please.
Well,
And get my
first,
hand slapped.
well, first, I'm going to share some wisdom that I got from Tweed Smith. And for those of you all that don't know, Tweed Smith is the only female member to sing in the world renowned group War. And she has a blues album, and she's just an all out musical genius, legend right here in H Town. Everybody needs to know that. But she said in one of our interviews, the first drum you hear is your mother's heartbeat. So everything has a rhythm. Everything And it's really all about tapping into the pulse that matches your vibration and being honest about elevate and what it's going to take to elevate. And that's already inside of you. And it's just a matter of allowing yourself to align and release everything that doesn't align. And that's a challenge all in itself, but it's a process that you will have to trust. But I can promise you will be worth it.
Mm.
In the next 5 years, I don't want to give away too many secrets. Let's just say I'm going to let my hair down and have fun and enjoy the journey. Because the main thing that I'm learning about getting and keeping the mothership on the air is that you can't skip over the journey to get to the destination, because the journey is what holds all the lessons. The journey is what breaks character flaws and builds wisdom, builds character, builds you into the version of yourself that you need to be in order to manifest the initial vision. You know what trips me out? This reminds me of like a sermon I heard a long time ago, where this pastor says, so many people are crying to God because you ain't got no cake. You crying to God that you ain't got no cake, but you ain't looking around and seeing you got the flour, the cocoa, the sugar, the butter, the eggs, the mixer, and a house with an oven in it, but you crying because you ain't got no cake. You see my face?
Yeah.
So I want to encourage everyone that's watching this show that don't cry over the cake. Look around on your table and see that the flour, the eggs, the batter, the sugar, a lot of that is already there. If you're getting a divine download, you already have what you need in your hand to get started. You have to work yourself up to the initial vision that you see. And that's why you can't skip the journey to get to the destination. Because when you focus on one destination, there's just one. When you allow yourself to embrace the journey, the destinations are many. So I'm looking forward to many new destinations for the mothership in the next 5 years.
That's dope. That's dope. Um, so I want to ask this question to both of you, and thank you for both for being y'all yourselves. I know knowledge you wanted to share, but I just wanted to add this for both of y'all to think about. Um, both of you have really just dedicated your life to something bigger uh, than just yourselves. So I just really wanted to, as I was listening to both of you, and then I just heard Muse right now, it just really etched into my mind, like how dedicated you are to your dedications and how committed you are to your commitments. And that's important. Young people have to see that um, in real time, not just, taking the time to learn about the factoids of that, but seeing it right before their eyes so that they can compute that, process that, emulate that, and elevate that to a higher height. And then also, we can get that instant feedback to be able to elevate what we need to grow in the areas that we need to become wiser. And then also realize that we doing some dope shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like this is really like we one of them ones.
Yes.
And that's what's so beautiful about the funk and what James Brown was talking about and what he taught Boosie and what Boosie and others were understanding and realizing as they were playing those sounds with repetition, with rhythm, with syncopation, with the oneness. And I feel like we bring such a beautiful and wonderful melody, if you will, symphony, if you will, smorgasbords of ideas, expressions with love. And it's done in such a way that you could listen to it on a 45, you could listen to it on a vinyl, you could listen to it on a CD, you could stream it, you know. But however you choose to listen, you hear it and it touches you. And I think that's what we need so much. We need work that touches us. Be it
Yes.
good, be it bad, be it real, be it up, be it down, be it fake, be it whatever. But it is coming from a place of usness. Not like we trying to fit in, to be something we ain't, and not like we scared of what we stand on is true. Nah, it's like we us and we are who we are, and we're embracing that because we know how important that is. And it ain't gotta be important because somebody else say it's important.
Exactly.
It's important because we know that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And we're willing to show that to the next generation so they could take value of that. in all of its ways and shapes and forms. And I think that that's what you all have embodied. And it's embattling. It's definitely a challenge, but you do it so effortlessly and without the support of the machine. You know what I'm saying? The machine be tripping. You know what I mean? Trying to stop it, trying to you know shadow ban it and put it in some kind of quarter, some kind of timeout, like it's bad, and it's not. It's really beautiful, and they would benefit from it if they would tap into it because they do tap into it. They listen to it. They know what it is. They
Hmm.
emulate it. You know what I'm saying? Um, but they don't want to give the respect to the pioneers and the innovators. You know what I'm saying? Because they some haters. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Um,
Oh, but they will. Don't worry about
but
it.
oh yeah, because even Bad Bunny, you know what I'm saying, and he totally took a homage from our boy, you know what I'm saying, Marvin Gaye when he said, "Only love can conquer hate." You know what I'm saying, and that's why our music, that's why our shows, that's why our expressions have such a magnitude, have such a fortitude, and are able to change folks' latitude, you know what I'm saying? Whether it be mentally or physically, you know, so they're able to see things more clearly and more clairvoyantly. So I just wanted to put that into the conversation, Brother Knowledge, and just say thank you for enabling us to have spaces like this because I grow so much from this, and I hope our audience does as well because I know that they do. Also, go ahead, Brother Knowledge.
So now I got the arduous task of following both of y'all. Okay, I'm gonna do my best. Do my best. Know that your journey takes time. Understanding that your journey takes time. That is the first thing that you have to be prepared to commit to the time that it takes. So when people come to me, they're like, "Yo, now I like what you're doing with your platform. I want to do something similar." I said, "How much time do you have?" That's the first question I ask. How much time do you have to devote to what you want to do? That's the first question. And the people they ask you, you asking that question. I got all the time in the world. Really? How much time can you devote to this on a monthly basis? Monthly. Right? They're like, oh, I'm like realistically. And when I add realistically, then they start counting. How much time can you devote? Because if I'm speaking about, a podcast or a radio venture, I'm equating it with time. How much time can you devote? You have to look at everything else that you're doing and see where you can fit in time, energy, space, and all of your being, because it takes all of your being to do in
Mm,
that moment.
mm,
So if you could actually articulate that properly, then any aspect of goal setting that you're looking to do, you understand the first thing. It requires the time commitment. What is the time commitment? What can I devote to this particular goal in regards to this time commitment realistically? So I have to look at everything in my life, everything that I have going on to be able to do it. Example, I was in month 19 of Do the Knowledge Radio. I was in an interview on the platform, one of the rare occasions where I do an interview where someone's asking me the question, right? And one of my barbers was like, "Where are you going with this platform?" I was in month 19. I said, "I'm going to be writing books and doing documentaries." It's month 19. I'm listening through my audio archives, and I heard that because I'm writing the stories that are associated with the Do Nots radio series, Greatest Guest series. So I'm listening to these archives that I thought were gone. And I'm listening in the interview, and I'm listening to myself 9 years ago describe in detail exactly what I'm doing right now.
Mm.
Hmm.
So if I would have thought about the magnitude of what it took to do what I needed to do, and 9 years ago, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. And I started and stopped on the venture, started and stopped on the venture, started and stopped on the venture of writing and documenting since I was 9 years old. So again, in that 19th month of this platform, it was something that I was expressing again from my 9 year old self. So you add 9 years to that later on, and I'm doing it. And I go back in the space and I'm listening to it. And as I'm listening to it, I was like, yo, this is in detail. So you put a divine decree out there, as you were saying, Queen Mother, about, you know, leaving an offering, expect a response.
Mm-hmm.
You're leaving this offering out here. You understand what I'm saying? You pour in this libation, expect an answer. So in that space, you're going to get the answer that you're looking for. Are you prepared when that answer comes?
Exactly.
Are you prepared for the time that it takes for you to see this thing into fruition, right? In that regard. So the thing that I saw myself doing, I'm doing, and it's the thing that I see myself doing for the rest of my physical existence. So being devoted and dialed in that space, it's like 40 something years later, and I'm still at it. That was the thing that was most consistent in that space. So if you look at it and you continue to push it and grow with it and allow it to grow you, right? Like the journey you was talking about, Queen Mother, in regards to what that is, you you get a chance to see perfection be perfected.
Mm.
So we exist in third dimension and it's designed to be imperfect, to point out imperfections in the pathway of self mastery to perfect perfection. So ancestrally, we are equipped with a mission and a vision and aim and a goal to complete in part what someone or someone's in our bloodline didn't get the opportunity to finish while they're here, and our own lessons for us to learn. What are we here to learn in this
Mm-hmm.
particular dispensation of time? So we're correcting the timelines, right? You know, I gave the X-Men example. I always give the Avenger example. You know, they showed us these Avengers. I said, who are they avenging?
Hmm.
We are the Avengers of our bloodline. So this place that comes in space that we operate in, we have the ability to avenge the bloodline, to be the proper ambassadors of the bloodline. So our future generations are no longer affected or affected by the mess that came before it.
Mm.
Say.
So through our story changing, story writing, story alchemy, uh, and our laudable efforts, it becomes something where we begin to look at the future, and the future truly becomes bright. You see what I'm saying? Darkness comes before the dawn. So we're on the dawn of a new line of divine, so that we ascend back to, and if necessary for us to come back in, descend again. So that ascension, descension cycle that continues. So, you know, the goal is for all of my efforts that my children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, and that great line divine continue on until the maladies that afflict us and the deviance that afflicts us is eradicated, so that their future generations inherit righteously from the work and continue on the righteous work of greatness in the bloodline. So, my offering in that way, in this regard, is righteous storytelling. So, sharing the stories of those who came before us, those that are with us, and those that are yet to come. And imbuing them with the power and permission to be themselves authentically and be that careful and that most authentic with sharing their stories with the world.
I just had to let that breathe for a second, brother. I know on radio we're not supposed to have dead air, but that was life there. So
Yes.
I know that life is reaffirming. So I just wanted to make sure that we gave that proper respect, because that added value to the silence. You know what I'm saying? And that silence is one that many of us tap into when we meditate, when we ruminate, when we're able to get a few moments to think. And that's the thing that this society has been so succinct at, is getting us away from ourselves, away from each other, away from the opportunity to really think and really allow that thinking to benefit us in ways that are not just monetary, in ways that are not just superficial. So we are able to see things in a way in which gives us greater understanding, greater comprehension. And then it also brings into question some things that we may be tripping on. You know what I'm saying? So I think that as I listen to both of you, it sounds quite clear to me, and I don't want to be presumptive, um, but it seems as if you know that you're a part of a greater plan, um, and that your work is working because of a divine connection. And that's one of the things that I wanted to get us to think about, because you mentioned the Avengers and we've talked about the X-Men. They all were considered oddities to some degree, uh,
Yes.
misfits, as some would say.
Mutants.
Right, right. All of that and a bag of chips. But for me, I look at the ingredients, you know, and I look at the substantive things that they were striving to do and they were made from and expressed. Just like many of our people, we've been considered to be those things that we've talked about, but we have superpowers. And our superpowers are powerful. And then knowing those powers, we empower not only ourselves and each other. And I think that it's empowering, especially this February. We didn't just want to turn it into what, McDonald's has said, dot, 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 365, um,
Mhm.
BHM. And those things aren't bad because that's for the medium or the masses. I don't want to denigrate that. But we have to go far and above and beyond that. We got
Yes.
to delve into these things, especially in this time and season with all of the madness we got going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I only want to give space to that madness, but
Good.
at the same time, we have to take space so that we understand what we're facing, right? And being able to process that in a way that affirms our life, that gives us meaning, that succinctly explains what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, why we're experiencing it, what is the intentions, so that we can prepare. And we need to be prepared. As they say in boxing, protect yourself at all times. And I think that this time is apropos for us to use the protection of music. And I love the brother Knowledge is the name of his show. You know what I'm saying? Show is so apropos, because we gotta do the knowledge. We got to understand what's transpiring right now. And I just want to etch that into everyone's mind, not out of fear, not out of consternation or stress and worry, but out of understanding there's a reason why we're here, and we not just here to pay bills and get on podcasts talking nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like we're more than that. We can talk about things that really mean something to us and not just worry about clicks and views. But we can worry about and focus on making sure we're paying our dues and we're doing the reasonable service that our ancestors, our rishas, our ancient ones, our deities, whatever it is that we hip to, our family members have needed us to do to continue on the species, to move the people forward. and to do something that hopefully will be highlighted in us keeping true to who we are. And
Ashe.
I want to say that because so much of what we see today, we got to question: is it AI? Is it, even if it's so-called real? Is it really real? You know what I'm saying? And that's that thing about that. They made fake so real, we don't even know what real is anymore.
Hmm.
Some of us want the AI before we get the real. We can't look at ourselves without a filter. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't knocking. I'm just saying, like, we got to really analyze, is that best for our mental health? And you know what I'm saying? Is that really where we need to lock in on to help us advance? Because that's what the name of the game is. Um, we look at the statistical data, and we look at, the historical ramifications of what's transpiring. Yeah, we know that there have been some recent Supreme Court rulings that have, shot this down, shot that down. But what we have to understand is that these people are going to go to whatever means necessary to get what they want to get done. And we have to be ready and able and capable to respond to that, however that needs to be done. And I bring that up just to make sure that, what I'm saying, that folk can't say we have our head in the clouds. And they can say whatever they want to say, but we also need to understand what's happening and transpiring on this Sunday, February 2022, 2026 as well. And this dear sister mentioned to me some stuff about Jupiter retrograde. I said, Jupiter, I know Mercury retrograde. I know what that is. I'm hip to that. And then she dropped this Jupiter. I had to ding, 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 get on the phone, and it's 11:11 right now. So that's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? And
And Jupiter went into retrograde on November 11th of last year.
how you love that? So it's like it's all in alignment, and when it aligns, it's meant. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely are going to make a lot of sense out of this, and I just I thank you for being aware of the importance of it, because it's going to make something more than just dollars. It's going to
Ashe.
be classic. You know what I'm saying? It's going
I
to be
received that.
timeless. And this is something that our generations to come, they'll understand. Now, they may not comprehend all of it, but the real of it, they'll feel. Because our generation, you know what I'm saying, we have some benefits. We have some things that I think that we really need to delve into, because as we talked about just a few, moments ago, the 90s are the oldies now. You know what I'm saying? The 2000s are now, what the young kids are wondering about, analyzing, revisiting, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah,
like,
our college soundtrack is throwback now.
yeah, for sure. For all facts, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's needed, you know what I'm saying? Because now we can look back at it nostalgically, but we could also see some of the realities. We could see some of the things that we were saying that didn't make sense, and some of the things that, man, that was right on point. You know what I'm saying? And then we could do, I feel like, a necessary evaluation. Ain't got to be on a long piece of paper, but we got to be able to say, okay, all right, do we like what's going on right now? Is this the vibe? If Earth, Wind, and Fire came on and said in September, do we know it's the third? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we really tapped in, or are we
The 3rd
tripping?
of September was Papa was a Rolling Stone, brother.
Boom. Thank you. See, well, what they said, the 15th, right? What
You remember the 21st night,
in
September.
September? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
21st
Boom.
night. Wait. 21st night of September is the beginning of autumn equinox. They would celebrate
Right.
September as an equinox song.
Mhm.
The 21st night of September, that's autumn
Yep.
equinox. So it's like, wait a minute, 3rd of September. Now, I only heard that coming from Dennis Edwards. Hold on, let's
Hey,
adjust.
hey, she tapped in, bro. She tapped in. I
Yeah,
love
man. I mean, with me into music, I mean, I hate to call out one of my first program directors at KPVU, but he tried to get me. He tried to get me. And he said that David Ruffin got the Temptations a first Grammy. I said, no, they didn't. No, he didn't. He said, yes, he did. I said, put some money on it. He put some money on it. I said, David Ruffin got the Temptations on the map with my girl. Dennis Edwards brought the Grammy home in 1972 with Cloud Nine. Run me my money.
Ooh, wait, bring me my money.
He was like, oh, damn, she got me. I was 20 years old when that happened.
Wow. See, that's why we got you on. Thank you for that clarification, because that brings up so much.
And that's Kwame Nkrumah's birthday, the 21st of
Another
September.
revelation.
Man. Hey, knowledge, run that back so they can hear that.
I said that's Kwame Nkrumah's birthday, September 21st.
Wow. President of Ghana.
That's what?
Kwame Nkrumah, of president of Ghana. The reason why they call that place the Gold Coast. Yeah, September 21st.
And that's his solar return.
Mm-hmm.
Ashe. Now see, we gotta add that to the facts when we play that song.
Boom.
That's for the president of Ghana, and that's for the bringing in of autumn equinox. I just thought about that. The 21st night of September. How did I miss that?
You didn't.
No, you didn't.
Just ran it back. That's all.
It was just time and season right now. I had to say.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's got to be the autumn equinox jam session. Then theme song for autumn equinox on the mothership, Earth, Wind, and Fire, September.
Boom, hey, boom. We just create. Boom. Let me shake the boom. That's more game. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, because the winter hibernation song is the Stylistics hang a sign up on the door saying "Don't disturb this groove," because that's hibernation season.
I'm glad you tapped in on this, because I heard a song by the Temptations just yesterday. Sorry is a sorry word to say when you do someone wrong. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's like, it was just so real. I was like, I felt what them boys were saying, because it was just like, man, that makes all the sense in the world. Like, that's real game. You just can't tell people I'm sorry and it not. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you tripping.
Change behavior.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to change the behavior, man. So, it's like the messages in the songs were meaningful, and they need to be that way now. I'm not saying that they aren't, but we need to get those experiences of hearing that music so we can share more game with the kids, and then they could be tapped into the real game, because sometimes I feel like they being sent into robot mode and they get ready to crash out. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, this is crash out shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on now, wait a minute.
Setting up the factory. Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, who y'all working for? And it was so interesting, because just today they put on the feed Little Richard talking about the music industry with Dave Letterman. And Dave Letterman's been around for a long time. A lot of these cats have. That's why things go the way that they go. They gatekeep to some degree. And the thing is, he was talking to Little Richard about the game and music, and how important it was for him to remain who he wanted himself to be. And he even talked about the emasculation of the man and black man, you know what I'm saying, and how that seemed to be a thing. You dig? Like, it was something that was not only happening, but it was being orchestrated. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, man. That's the a lot of our brothers and sisters that have platforms understand and use these things to ignite controversy and to delve into the drama and the schema of things from a dramatic skew. And ain't nothing wrong with that. We could do that. But doing it for just an entertainment value is somewhat sickening. And that's what this society has kind of perpetuated, this level of narcissism, as I gotta say obligatorily in any time we have a conversation, because these people are so insane, right? And the game is got us so rooted in the ego, in the I, rather than, what I'm saying, we and us, you know what I mean? So we can understand how to collectivize. And that's not just in economics. It's not just cooperative economics from a monetary perspective. It should be from a spatial and relational protective and perspective, so that the process in which we engage each other in is more constructive and productive. I'm not trying to kill knowledge. Knowledge ain't trying to kill me. We build in knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Because what he's saying needs to be said. You know what I'm saying? So now we linking up and we bridging the gaps. You know what I'm saying? We elevating and moving up the ladder, you know. And I think a lot of times we don't get that because I used to look at how many groups we had back in the days. Think about that when we was coming up. You had Escape, SWV, you know, In Vogue, Brownstone, right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Am I tripping?
So
And
for real, Boys to
come
Men.
on, man, come on. You
Um,
had melodies, man. You know what I'm saying? You had God, you know, and you know, you had groups, Drew
New
Hill.
Edition.
That's what I'm saying. Groups of people coming together and working together. And that's important. It wasn't just singing and that. No, Remy. You know, it wasn't just that. It was seeing us together, us working through things,
Yeah.
building things up, right? Having our own unique style and working that in the gumbo of the ensemble. Those were things that we needed to see. We need to see the Jackson Five
Oh
because
yeah.
there's five of them. That's man. There's a clip of Cher playing in Michael Jackson's face. She you know she trying to pop lock. You know what I mean? Trying to show Mike. Mike said what? She playing in my face, and man, the boy started breaking it. She had to get back in line, bro. She wasn't touching that, and
Yeah.
Mike was letting her know, right? And I'm saying to myself, what the clip doesn't say is how cold Tito was in the line, how
Man, look.
Jermaine was tearing it up. And I'm like, Mike was dope. Don't get me wrong. Mike is on it. But we can't forget about the other brothers too. And I
Yeah.
think that's what this social structure has done. It's individualize our construct to
Divine.
where, yeah, we only see ourselves. We only see the star and we only see Mike, but we don't see Jermaine. We don't see Tito. We don't see how they play the guitar. We don't see how Randy was moving just like Mike, damn near. You know what I'm saying? So not seeing those things, we ultimately miss the composite sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And then not only uh, you know, not seeing it for ourselves, but being led astray by the system, so that, as you mentioned, this is the divide and conquer. And then also not understanding from a musical perspective, you need that ensemble. Like we need to hear that bone. We need to hear that sax. We need to hear that. It's got rhythms and syncopations that help our heart, that cleanse our soul.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That helps us breathe better. And we got to see that so we know that it's genuine and we know that that can be accomplished and achieved. Because I'll say this and I'll close, um, because I know how important what this is that we need to be healing in every room and out of every orifice and speaker we're able to come in contact with. Uh,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is because of the onslaught every time. You know, I just want to take a second on this moment to share this, not to talk about trolling or talk about this and that and the third, but um, if that's true that a man at 45 is given months to live, he got blood coming out of his eyes during a concert, and I'm just bringing this up because it's a part of the public square. We need to really discuss, like, what about this social structure is causing cats to be so sick,
Hmm.
causing
I'll be right back.
yeah, please, causing our bodies to be this detrimentally damaged. You know what I'm saying? Where we going through these experiences, knowledge, and no discussion and conversation is what are we gonna do to make sure it's not another brother that experiences this. You know what I'm saying? It's almost as if we're just accepting it. And I'm like, that's unacceptable. Like, we're not supposed to be going through this madness, man. You know what I'm saying? But this is what the design is almost perpetuating because it's coming up with these ridiculous, nonsensical Frankenstein like foods and social structures are creating it to where in which we're gravitating not to the vegetables, not to the fruits, not to the organics, not to the authentics. Now we're going for the artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence, man. Artificial flavor, excuse me. I'm sorry. We're going for the artificial. And we wonder why our minds are going to all different kind of places. Because the chemicals, it's poison. It's poison. You know what I'm saying? So we need to get
And
real
that's what
food.
we're addicted to. We're addicted to the poison.
Mm.
Yeah. that's that's what we're addicted to. That the poison, the things that's most harmful to us, we become addicted to in that way.
Facts. 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 Oh, okay, she came back.
Yeah,
Yeah. Man, I really appreciate both of you on and this is I know, you know what I'm saying. She been on it. She been on the call for a minute, man. You know what I'm saying? She grind. I love it. Um,
I want her autograph. Okay.
man, for real, I'm telling you.
That can be arranged.
Oh, she got it, bro. She got and you better frame it too. You know what I'm saying? She gonna bring you some light and love and good energy. And that's where I really wanted to go with this next question I have for both of you. And I appreciate both of you so much. This sister talked about Jupiter retrograde, excuse me. And I'm
Mhm.
in the Petro Metro. That's why I'm thinking about this. And it's like, regardless of what Jupiter, Mercury, whether it's, you know what I'm saying, the fifth dimension, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I know we got to get up, we got to get to work, we got to do what we got to do. And what can help a brother like me to be able to benefit from these things? I mean, the knowledge is cool, but how can I use this? How can listening to this program, how can, moving my feet to this beat, how can it help me and advance the way I think so that I can take advantage of the opportunities that are before me?
That's a good question. Actually, I do a cosmic weather forecast every night where I give a heads up of what zodiac season we're in, the daily numerology, where the moon cycle is, which planets are in retrograde, and what to do with them. Because the planets, the movement of the planets directly affect human behavior. And our people have always been a people that read the stars. So taking that, boiling that down into Jupiter's retrograde. First, I'm gonna say Mercury isn't the only planet the retrogrades that we need to pay attention to, because most people stop at just Mercury retrograde. Which, by the way, the first Mercury retrograde of 2026 is coming up in 3 days. But
Mm,
get to that. You
Right.
have to look at where all the planets are in retrograde so that when you notice certain behaviors happening amongst humanity that are affected by the quasars, you can not only be prepared, but you can also strengthen your aura to where you don't take things other people do so personally. And the less you internalize, the less stress you bring into your body. And we know stress is a killer.
mm,
So, when you don't internalize things because you're prepared for them, that can really be beneficial with knowing about the placements of the planets. Because I actually studied this long before I came up with the forecast. And I used to call my mom before she go to work and be like, "Hey, be easy on people today, because Mercury's in retrograde and communication is gonna be mixed up. So be prepared to be a little bit patient." Or Somebody would have a boyfriend that was a Sagittarius or a Pisces. And I'd be like, hey, be easy on them during this time because their ruling planets are in retrograde. So that might make them tweak a little bit. you know. So knowing what each planet is, what its function is, and then applying that function into your life can really help you divinely align. It can help you predict many of the things that are going on a large scale and in our everyday lives. And it helps us to be energetically prepared so that we don't take things so personally, so that we don't internalize everything. Knowing where the quasars are, especially with planetary retrogrades. Um, Case in point, Jupiter is in retrograde in the house of Cancer the Crab. Cancer the Crab is the house of nurture, the house of emotions. Okay? And Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter is also the planet that brings good luck, good fortune. So, with that planet retrograding in the house of Cancer, you really want to. This is why so many people are focused on alignment, emotional healing, letting go of the past. Because when you manifest a divine inheritance, you can't be still stuck in survival mode when it comes. You have your season for war and your season to thrive. And many of us are finding ourselves having to heal, having to release a lot of things so we can be in the energy of thriving so that the universe can respond to that vibration and bring you your inheritance. Um, Case in point, when Saturn's in retrograde, that brings about a lot of karmic stuff. You know, I believe Saturn just went into Aries, which is all these crazy things we're seeing coming out in the news and in mainstream society and all of that. When you tap that in and connect it to what's going on in the planets and in the quasars, you'll see it's all divinely orchestrated. It's all divinely aligned. This structure is supposed to be falling apart right now according to what's going on in the quasars. And this is why it's been sold to us as a bunch of mumbo jumbo horoscopes. Oh, that's a sin, that's demonic. No, it's not, it's a code. And most importantly, studying astrology helps you to understand yourself because we're all our own walking universes and we have no idea until we crack that thing open and start studying ourselves. And then when you start making more sense to yourself, it's a lot easier to align with what you naturally align with and cut cords that need to be cut a lot more easily because now you understand your divine blueprint and how it plugs into the universal whole.
True. That's
Yeah.
real. That's real. She just laid it out like that. And I definitely had to let it breathe.
right? She
Man.
gave a divine blueprint in regards to how you see yourself. And all we might be acquainted with is where our sun is from that perspective. So we might be like, oh, that's just me. I'm an Aries. I'm high headed. You understand what I'm saying? Cats and tradition. They'd be like, oh, I'm a son of Okun, son. That's just how I get down. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So yeah, you- these,
I'm a
these
Gemini, so
precepts,
being two faced is natural.
Mm, mm,
these precepts oftentimes are things that we come to shed. So our presets and our defaults that we have, if we don't understand them, we don't understand, the dynamics of our family, how do we begin to know self, right? So from a cellular level to the astrological level, if we don't know those family members, if we don't know ourselves, where we came from, all of those things happen. They're all aligned. We're aligned ancestral, like we're aligned cosmic. We are all of the signs on the zodiacal wheel, 2 hours out of the day. Each sign we go through. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? 2 hours out of the day. So adding in, these things in regards to, what Queen Mother is sharing, you get more and more in depth in regards to that. You see what I'm saying? So that's our astrological divination tool. You see what I'm saying? To accompany the physical divination tools that are necessary to be able to have a early warning situation. You see what I'm saying? So you know you charge your or you charge your head in a way, and you program how it is. You go check in. You go do what you got to do. You can do all of these things and bump your head because you're neglecting something. See what
Mm,
I'm saying? So again, there's something there that will reveal itself to you if you're obedient. Even if you try to force it, you'll see why. One way or the other, you'll still see on both sides of the polarity what that was. You're going to see it. You're like, man, you how many times you said, man, I know I should have, and then you just fill in the blank. You know,
Mm-hmm.
something was telling me to, and I said, F it, and you got what F it meant. You understand? Whatever F it called for you, for you, that's it's based off of that. So, in, instinctually and intuitively, we have things that's and messages that we receive, warnings that we receive, all kinds of things. Just being mindful of them. And when they was teaching me how to drive, they said you ain't got to learn how to drive just for yourself. You got to drive for everybody else sometimes. So I'm saying, so what Queen Mother saying about okay, these transits affecting people, everybody's affected by it, but what degree? So do you know to which degree? And then who you around and what they did. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, all right, so this Jupiter in Cancer, everybody in their feelings, they feel some kind of way about everything. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, all
Mm-hmm.
right, everybody in their feelings. So whether it's a thing right here, right there. I think the last point for Jupiter in retrograde, if you were skipped over for something, it's a space to come back and reward
mm,
Yes.
as well. So you just do whatever that is for you, positive or negative. If you think you understand what I'm saying, my mama came with that switch one time and she said, I'm gonna whoop your behind for what you about to do in the future. I said, whoa. I said, wait a minute now. You ain't do nothing now, but you gonna do something in the future. So I'm gonna get you right now. I was like, ooh. So if I could take the reward, then I could take the punishment. You
mm.
understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that becomes a blessing for you to learn from in that regard. So if you can take the rewards that come along with it or the accolades or whatever the case may be, you can take what's necessary to come along with it for you to be in that position to receive that increase or that abundance. So
Mm.
honest to you,
Beautiful.
Queen Mother, for laying it out like that, because I couldn't have. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
No, no, beautiful, beautiful, both well done. Lastly, I wanted to share with you that while the times are tough, and I don't think I have to go through why and all of those kinds of things. There's great light and there's great opportunity and promise, and I'm just wondering, what is the message that you're sending to your listeners in this time, in this season, to be able to address the needs and the concerns and the responsibilities and the joys that are undoubtedly and undoubtedly here and intertwined in the here and now. And how can we, move forward in which we are more constructive and productive with the time that we have, and then also benefiting that time in a way in which benefits future generations, and then also the proliferation of the greatness that we are stewards of. All of us are stewards of greatness. We've been in contact with greatness. We've been molded and scolded and cajoled, by greatness. So we have no choice other than to be that. And I think each person is doing that in their own unique way. And I'd love for you to share some light on that, so that people can hopefully get something out of their lives as well from it.
First, I'm going to say, understand that no matter what era in time we're in, the human existence has always had a bunch of poo going on. There's always some shit going. You know? What do you think our ancestors had to come through? Why do you think we call on the ones that went through worse than we did? You
Mm,
know? There's always a sign of the times. People thought the Titanic was the end of the world. People thought 9/11 was the end of the world. And it was the end of the world as we knew it. But this thing gonna keep turning. And the poo in life is gonna be there. But the happiness is what you make it. And when you divinely align, you will be steered around many things that are meant to hurt you. And the things that do hit you that are meant to hurt you were only there to teach you a lesson. But we have to pull fully back into our divinity and take our faith out of anything other than that. Because there's a system higher than the government.
Hmm.
And we have always been the people that have believed beyond the stars, because I have a blues section on Mondays on the mothership. And I have a song in here, Johnny Guitar Watson, with a song called Ain't That a Bitch? What does that mean? Things were going on during their time too. What was Prince saying in Sign of the Time? Man, Francis Skinny Man died of a big disease with a little name. By chance, his girlfriend came across a needle and soon she did the same. At home, there's a 17-year-old boy and their idea of fun was being in a gang called the Disciples, high on crack, toting machine guns. Times. And he was just like, hey, it's just the times. That was what was going through then. Music has always recorded the signs of the times. What was Marvin Gaye talking about when he was saying, mercy, mercy me?
Hmm.
Make me want to holler the way they do my life. You know? But then you have Donny Hathaway bringing anthems like Someday We'll All Be Free. Those songs don't come from roses and butterflies.
Hmm.
Those songs come from rolling with the punches. Let's talk about the adrenaline when you listen to the Isley Brothers fight the power. You ain't nobody got to tell me Ronald Isley was mad when he recorded that song. That anger was real. You know, you could hear the intensity in Gil Scott's Heron's voice when he said the revolution will not be televised. You know, Aretha Franklin sang To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. She sang that from her soul. Why? Because she was coming up in a time where her dignity they were trying to strip that from her.
Hmm.
But we've always come through. And we've always gone above. And we've always overcome. So this generation, more equipped than any generation before us, scared of what? Scared of what? That's my legacy. So if you living in this human existence and you wearing one of these human meat suits, you're gonna have some journey. You're gonna have some journeys. You're gonna have some hurdles to jump over. There's gonna be moments where you're gonna have to break out the machetes, the boxing mitts, all of that.
Hmm.
But there's also gonna come a time where you put that down and enjoy the roses and honey.
Hmm.
And you have to know who you are in all of it. Because nobody, no system, no nothing works so hard to destroy something of no value. So if you getting all this pushback, you must really be that guy. Or you must really be that girl. I dare you to dig in your own soul and figure out why people are trying to cut your light out.
Hmm.
Because it's too bright and it's supposed to shine. And unfortunately, lights do shine brighter in the midst of darkness.
Hmm.
So there's my legacy. The poo in life's gonna be there. But your legacy, your happiness, your divine alignment, you're responsible for those things.
Hmm.
Not everyone speak at once.
Again,
Gotta
it's
let that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm saying
yeah. You
that
got
that muse is amusing, okay, but it ain't a game.
it
You know what
isn't.
I'm saying? That muse is amusing, but it's not a game. I'm telling you.
I
So
say,
gotta let
Um,
that be.
you got to. You have to. I think that when you're in the presence of greatness, you absorb it. You know what I'm saying, and you appreciate it because you know that uh, it's not an accident that this moment exists. and there's a greater relevance and importance that will manifest many years to come that we may not even be aware of or experience. But because we're opening ourselves up to that energy, because we're committed to the energy growing and manifesting, and we believe in the purpose and have faith in its occurrence and the results that the work works, I know that we'll realize, man, that this was something that was watermark like, seminal, as they say in the English language, but not for the vainglory of having some kind of, 30-year reunion. I mean, if that's the case, that's the case. But I think hopefully in the 30 years to come, there will be eyes, ears, and someone will face um, these situations, and hopefully we'll gain and glean strength from the conversations that we've had tonight. And then also bringing in remembrance of those things that we've mentioned that will have and need some recall, some refresher, some retooling, and some revitalization, so that regardless where we are on the continuum, we're always constantly and consistently experiencing recalibration. So that, yeah, I got information, but man, I learned something. It wasn't the 3rd of September, that was the Temptations. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Earth, Wind, and Fire was the 21st. And I guarantee if you look at each verse, you're going to get information from them
Yes.
that wasn't just in the singing and the high note, how they hit do, re, mi, fa, sol, li, do. Yes, that's magical. That's scientific. But there's also a message that's not just for the surface. And that's the beauty of being tapped into the frequency, is I don't just hear what you're saying, I also hear what you're not saying. And I hear the depth and how much this resonates with authenticity and truth, which is going to help all of us if we get to hear this, if we do it, if we execute it, because the work works, you know, and you all are working. You doing the work, have been doing the work, and will continue to do the work. So I hope that folk out there are working to not only aid and abet it, but they need to get it if they ain't got it.
Ashe.
Because it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. And we are people who rose from whatever plight we may call or remember. And we didn't rise so that we could fall right now.
Exactly.
We didn't come from whence we came to let it off be flushed down the toilet right now.
Ashe.
Tag, you're it. Yeah, you're it. And it's time to get to getting, because we come from a people who have found ways to do the impossible and make it look easy. Because what we've done is marvelous, and what we're doing is immaculate. And I'm not just saying this so we can become icons. Because if it's truly iconic, man, you don't even get to see it in your lifetime. You know what I'm saying? But it lives on into the lifetimes and lifetimes of times until memorial. And then on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real. It's real.
Ashe.
And you know what I'm saying? And each generation, that's real. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, that's real. That's real. So it's being tapped into that. And that alignment will help us better move forward, um, with relevant activities that give hopefully the best version of ourselves and those that we are able to come in contact with, opportunities to exercise our excellence, because that's what we are. You know what I mean? Um, both of you are stars, and I appreciate the time that both of you have spent having a conversation that I know has helped and supported and benefited all of us. So I'm just thankful that you all would allow me to sit co-pilot, um, really in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
You
saying?
always do
You
that.
know, I mean, shit in the trunk. You know what I mean? This has been so worthwhile. Wherever I may be, I'm happy just to be, and to be in both of your presence is a true blessing. So I'd love to hear from a final word, not in terms of the finality, but in, as we like to call and talk about, just putting an addendum or a pin in it, so that we can continue on the continuum to keep bringing news you can use, flavor you can savor. So I know, dear brother and dear sister, that each and every one of the family members, neighbors, haters, whoever they may have been that heard the sounds of your voices, not only felt the voice of something higher and the power that comes with it, but will be inspired and aspire to do something of this magnitude in their own existence. Um, so that's the sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and close, but I just want both of you to know that your work is beautiful and it's important and it's transformative. So I tip my cap to you, and we'll start. We've been starting with the sister. I think we'll start with the good brother, so that she could just let it cook. But before you cook, they say you got to get prepared, and that takes knowledge. So I know that this brother has been not only exemplary in that dynamic, but is also capable and able to take us to even higher levels of transformation, because his information each and every year is growing. His wisdom, his command, and then also his humility, to know he's of great authority, but to be able to listen to miscreants like myself. So that is a great attribute and something that I greatly admire and appreciate about you, dear brother, is letting space be held for greatness, and then also giving space to those that would only witness it by being in your company. So I thank you for that. And I definitely want you to have a word that will not only help us and support us, but acknowledge how you're helping and supporting us on your program. And that programming needs to be heard. Those words need to be analyzed and discussed. And then your expressions, whether they be in product and or service, need to be acknowledged and supported by our community.
In my book, From Nameless to Knowledge, it's a book that I get as intimate and as close as possible without revealing too much about me, because I don't share too much with the general public. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Okay. So,
I think the brother froze.
Uh-oh.
Wow, that's really interesting because he looked like he's saying something good too. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
um, yeah, but
Yeah.
but um, but we want to respect the time. So, dear sister, um,
good.
okay, you back, brother? Man, it look like you singing
My
R&B
check.
right there on the screen. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It
you
look
were
like
looking like Wanya Morris.
I make he looked like he was it's
You was
the
Yeah.
looking like
Can y'all hear
this
me or
one
no?
was frozen, Brother Knowledge, and you were looking like you were singing.
Hey,
He said you look like one yay,
I
bro.
don't want to get the broadcast banned. You know what I'm saying? If I was singing, they might be like, get this dude out of here. I don't
Oh
want nothing he
man,
talking about.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful, man.
Good and
But no,
terrible. That's what it was. Good and terrible.
But right when you were saying, you don't tell too much too people too much about you, then it froze. So you got to start from right there.
yeah.
Oh man.
Roll back that
So
beautiful
in
footage.
this book that I wrote, The goal was to make sure that people begin to share their story. Share. Everybody has a story that's worth telling. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So uh, I'm glad that paused because I found a better one. Right. So
Mm,
reflection number 59 is create like my ancestors are watching.
mm,
Create like my ancestors are. So I'm mindful of what I say and what I do because of that. So in this reflection, it says, when I write or build, I ask, would this make my ancestors proud? Will my great grandmother feel seen in these lines?
mm,
That reverence keeps my work rooted. So the
mm,
reflection says, legacy begins with loyalty to those who came before. And the takeaway is place an image of an ancestor near your workspace.
mm,
Create with their eyes in mind. So my final thought is that sum total of our ancestral experience, you are that. You are that embodied in physical form. So being mindful of the work that you produce. Is it your best work? Is it your greatest work? Will it do your ancestors proud? You know, uh, Judgment Day is daily. Judgment Day is daily, and rewards and punishments are swift. So, being mindful when you create, creating from the best space, and invoke your ancestral assistance in regards to your affairs, and keep them a part of your project and a part of your story. You are the greatest inspiration, like the song goes, and the greatest ambition. So you made whatever that they suffered during their sojourn worth it. So create from that higher elevated space. Thank you for the time, brother. Said, Queen Mama, I would love to have you on. I don't know how we're gonna connect. We'll connect some kind of way, and I want to, dig into your story, pick you up, and share your sojourn as well.
Okay, we can talk about that. Ashe. My turn?
go ahead.
Oh, I'm just going to say the same thing I say at the end of all of my forecasts. Um, Remember that the sky is big enough for us all to be stars.
Mm,
And in the words of George Clinton, free your mind and your ass will
that's
follow.
what's up.
And
Mm,
at about 12:15, I'm gonna go into a midnight madness jam session because I'm feeling it. So tune in to the
beautiful.
tip because I'm about to cut up on the old school.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let people know how they can hear that.
You can Google search 222.9 the mothership, and you want to use the radio.com link. Let me see if I can post the link here. Let me see.
Yeah,
Join the
drop that
chat.
in that chat. Please go listen to the mothership. You know what I'm saying? And
Uh,
listen to Do the Not
I'm
Do Not.
beaming up, baby. I'm beaming up. She said old school. She got me with old school. You
I'm
understand? I'm
telling
in
you.
there. All right.
I'm telling
Try
you.
to rub.
Hey, might as well. And you know the beautiful thing about it is now old school is bigger than it's ever been because I don't really consider the 90s old school, but
I
that's what
don't either.
you know what I'm saying? And I'm able and capable to adapt. So I'm tapping into it and I'm revisiting songs that I hadn't heard in a while. And then also thinking about the classics, how important it is, what I'm saying, to continue to keep those alive because those messages are meaningful. Those rhythms and syncopations are not prehistoric, they're artifactual, you know what I'm saying? So they're giving us not only a nice groove to move to, but also understanding how our motion in generations past was developing and creating what we're experiencing now. So we just got to keep on putting it down, keep on doing what we do. And thank you, both of you, for keeping it so true and keeping it so trill, keeping it so real. Um, I just want to make sure everybody's good out there in listening land. Thank you for tapping in. Please make sure you follow each and every one of these fabulous and phenomenal and spectacular spectacles of human beings, spirits and flesh that are really dedicating themselves to